Right, American League Championship Series, and here we go. I like under the total with Toronto and Kansas City tonight. It's one of those lines where you look at it and you kind of double take on it because it just does not look right. 7.5 with two pitchers with the opposing teams that got to them or were able to hit them pretty consistently, and yet the odds makers have come out with this really low line of 7.5. Last four games, they've scored at least 8 runs or more. So I think there's a reason for this. I'm going to back the odds makers. David Price, I think he's due to pitch a really good game. I'm sure he's heard a lot about how he's not performed well in the playoffs. He's probably sick of that. He's probably going to come in and really have a good outing. And Yordano Ventura, I think he's going to have a good outing as well at home, fired up to try and win this Game 4 and get him to the World Series. As to who wins this game, man, it's going to, I think it could go either way. It's going to be a really, really good ball game. For me, though, I like under this total. Odds makers have it at 7.5. And I think that looks too low, but it's not. I think we're going to see a really low-scoring game here. It's going to probably end up, coming down to those final few innings. David Price on the year for Toronto. Let's go ahead and let's talk about him. He comes in 2.45 ERA, 1.08 WHIP, 225 strikeouts, and an 18-5 record on the year. And he has not pitched well in the playoffs, but on the year, on the road, he has an ERA hovering around 2. And against Kansas City, overall, he's got an ERA under 3. So that's an overall, assessment there. I think he comes out and pitches well tonight. I think he's due for a good start. I think he's due for a bounce back, and I think it happens tonight, even against a good Kansas City offense. Let's talk about Ventura. He comes in on the year, 4.08 ERA, 1.30 WHIP, 156 strikeouts, and a 13-8 record. Now, the guts of this is the last 4 games, these teams have scored 8 runs or more, or significantly over 8 runs in a couple of those games. Yet the odds makers have come prepared to set this line really low at 7.5. I think they understand the fact that Ventura can be really nasty at times, and he could throw really hard too. So look for Toronto not to have as much success as they've had at home in swinging the bats. In Kansas City, they have not swung the bats well. Offensively, Toronto, still overall average-wise, they're the best in baseball. They come in hitting 267 as a team. They average 5.47 runs per game. OPS is 791. Their runs per game and OPS, that's the tops in Major League Baseball, and their average is one of the best. They're a great hitting team, but I think on the road here in Kansas City, I think they're in for a tough matchup tonight, and I definitely do not think they're going to score how they have been in Toronto. Kansas City been swinging some good bats for the most part of this series. They come in on the year hitting 269 as a team. They average 4.55 runs per game. OPS is 736. They're also one of the better hitting teams in the American League. They're average ranked second in Major League Baseball. Still tonight, though, I think they're in for a tough matchup, although they did hit Price well last time. But I think this puts Price in a good bounce back spot. Last time Ventura allowed 3 earned runs against Toronto. I think this puts him in a good bounce back spot. I look for both these pitchers to pitch well. I think Price is going to have to go deep because that Toronto bullpen, until they get to Osuna, it's not very good. You cannot put in LaTroy Hawkins to stop Kansas City. I hope the Blue Jays have learned that by now. Kansas City, on the other end, they do got some pretty good relievers. So game's going to go down to the wire. It's going to be a great contest, but I like under the total here, under that 7.5. I think we see a really low scoring affair, a lower than anticipated scoring affair in this game. That's going to be my Major League play of the day, and I wish you luck on your plays of the day.